Vrinda ji and Sunita ji, good evening. My name is Rahul Verma. Until I think everything get sorted out, I thought just to say hello. I'll be moderating the session. So if there is anything you would like me to sort of have a conversation on, you can sort of indicate that to me. Plus, anything which you think you don't want to answer or you don't want to engage with, please feel free to sort of negate.
I don't think, there are any such type of questions which I should say that no comments.
but you
as a politician,
as a moderator,
sometimes
I want
they
to
just
leave
feel
that
like
space
this.
open. If you want to say no comment, you are more than welcome.
No, I think.
I think we are ready to go live. We are live on Facebook now. So very, very good evening to everybody for making time to join us on this panel today. I am Kamshi Agrawal. I am the founder at Netri Foundation. And this is our third webinar in the Women Who Lead series. Women Who Lead series in partnership with She the People TV is an effort to deep dive into specific challenges and themes around women's political participation in India. She the People TV, as you know, is India's biggest digital platform covering women's story. Netri Foundation is India's first not-for-profit, non-partisan organization enabling women to run for elections, as we are committed to amplifying women's political participation and decision-making at all levels of representation and governance. The theme of today's webinar is women politicians and governance. As you know, in the light of the COVID pandemic, climate change crisis, the ongoing debate about menstrual leave at workplace, we aim to discuss the importance of women's participation in governance to face global challenges coming our way and the ramifications of their absence from decision-making, economy, and polity. At this juncture, it is pertinent to note that leaders invest more in infrastructure that is directly relevant to the needs of their own genders. There is also research to show that villages reserved for women leaders have a higher availability of public goods, and measured quality of these goods is at least as high as in a non-reserved village. And this highlights the importance of women's presence in decision-making. With this context, I'm honored to welcome our panelists who have kindly agreed to share their experiences and thoughts with us today. I will go in the alphabetical order of introduction. So the first panelist today for our discussion is Ms. Brinda Karat. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. She is an Indian politician, an author, activist, and a leader of the CPIM in India. She is a former member of parliament from Rajya Sabha, and in 2005, she became the first woman member of CPIM Politburo, the highest decision-making body of the party. She joined the CPIM in 1971. So I was saying that you joined the party in 1971 and since then have fervently worked on multiple issues pertaining to women's empowerment in the country. She is a revered thought leader and has also been the General Secretary of All India Democratic Women's Association from 1993 to 2004 and thereafter its Vice President. So we welcome you today, ma'am.
Thank you, Kanshi.
Our second panelist today is Ms. Sunita Duggal. She's an Indian politician and the current member of parliament of Lok Sabha from Sirsa, Haryana, and currently the only woman member of parliament from the state. She served in the income tax department for 22 years at various posts before taking voluntary retirement and joining BJP. She was appointed as chairperson of this HSCFDC in Haryana government. It is a very, very long acronym in itself. She's also a member of the Standing Committee on Finance, Consultative Committee on Finance, and Standing Committee on Ethics. So we welcome you, ma'am, to join us today. We will also be joined by Ms. Yashomati Thakur. She is currently the Cabinet Minister of Women and Child Development in Maharashtra. She has been associated with Congress Party for over a decade and has served on multiple positions. She was a member of State Commission on Women Maharashtra, member of State Legal Advisory Committee, former chairman on Women's Rights and Protection Committee in the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly between 2011 to 2014, working president of Maharashtra Pradesh Congress Committee since 2019, and is the guardian minister of Amravati district since Jan 2020. So we welcome her as well on the panel. Now introducing the moderator for this session. which is Rahul Verma. He is a senior colleague at CPR and he's a fellow at Center for Policy Research. He is also a PhD candidate in political science at the University of California at Berkeley. And his doctoral dissertation examines the historical roots of elite persistence in contemporary Indian politics. He's an author and a regular columnist for various news platforms. His research areas focus on voting behavior.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay, not an issue. His research areas focus on voting behavior, party politics, political violence, media, and women's political participation. Yeah.
I'm in a webinar, I'm in a seminar.
Okay, I would take the liberty of muting her for a minute. And so before starting his PhD at Berkeley, Verma completed his MPhil in political science from Delhi University and MA in development studies from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. We welcome you all, and over to you, Rahul. Now this is your panel and your panelists. Over to you.
Thank you, Kanshi, for that long introduction. I don't think anyone needed that kind of introduction among such accomplished people. Thank you, Netri Foundation and She the People for organizing it. So this is not a TV studio and not a TV debate. So as a moderator or anchor, I will keep my role as a minimal. I will only ask questions and hope that your answers are going to be in a very precise, limited time frame. I just want to sort of say three things to begin with. One, today, before this webinar, I was reading an article, and the article basically asked that we shouldn't be waiting for a Masiha or a revolution. It should be restoration of normal politics. So given this time of COVID and pandemic, I think the first responsibility, and this is where I think Kanshi Netri Foundation and all of you are doing a good job, is basically having a political dialogue and having a dialogue on questions of politics that matters to all of us. Second, I think this is an ideologically polarized time. So having three panelists who represent three sort of spectrums of ideological politics in India on a single platform, that's also great. As Kanchi was mentioning, I'm obsessed with ideological conflicts. That's one of my research areas. So having a member of from CPM, from BJP, and from Congress, three ideological spectrums represented in this panel, even that is great. Dialogue across the aisle is the most important thing in democracy. And the third thing, and I'm not trying to be an ageist, it also represents three in some generations of politicians. Brinda Karat ji has been sort of I think her first vocal act of politics was in early 1970s when Miss Dugal was just sort of born, right? So in a way, it also represents three very different generations of politics. And so let me sort of start with the youngest member who has joined active electoral politics, Sunita ji. You were a bureaucrat before joining politics. You were an IRS officer. Both these streams, if you ask a bureaucrat, why did you join bureaucracy? Or if you ask a politician, why did you join politics? Both of them would say social service. I wanted to serve people. Why do you think, and before getting into this question, I would also sort of ask you to narrate your sort of political experience and political journey, since it has been just 5-6 years. Why did you decide to quit bureaucracy and join politics, and what your experience has been so far?
Thank you so much, Rahul, and thank you, Kashi. And first of all, I just really want to compliment Brinda ma'am. From 1971, and she says still looks so young and so.
No, not at all.
So sweet. So first of all, let me start from complimenting Brinda ma'am. And thank you so much, Netri Foundation, for giving me this opportunity. Actually, this is the reality that everybody, in case if they just want to join bureaucracy or politics, at the back of the mind, there is social service. But sometimes, when you join it, at that time, it is social service. But after joining it, I don't know where, I mean, it vanished, it goes. So I was associated with the Ramakrishna Mission earlier when I was in the income tax department, and there's an ashram in Chandigarh. I was posted over there, and one of the you can say Maharaji over there, Brahmeshanandji, he was a doctor, and at that time I was associated with that institution, and so many activities, I used to go with him, and I participate in all these activities during my weekends. You can say Saturday and Sunday was free for me, and at that time I used to go there, and I joined so many medical camps and so many things. So it was really in my mind that in case if I just join politics, then I can do, and now I really feel in that way. There are so many things which I think that I can do, and there are so many opportunities so that you get a big platform. And in case if you really want to do something, then nothing, is better than politics. So that's why you can say that because of this only. Otherwise, I was having a very comfortable and very consistent sort of lifestyle, and I was, in the income tax department. My husband is an IPS officer, and sometimes people used to say that, "Okay, what happened to you? You are leading a very comfortable life, and you just jump into this uncertain field." So, but I'm very, there's a soul satisfaction, there's a job satisfaction. I'm very happy after this joining politics. There is struggle. I mean, there is, such type of incidents are there when you feel uncomfortable. But still, I feel that this is good for in case if you just really want to do something for the poor, for the unprivileged, then it's really a big platform, and you can do beyond your thoughts, even in case if you really want to do something.
Thank you. Yashomati ji, I would like to bring you here. You have been a 3-time member of Legislative Assembly in Maharashtra and now a cabinet minister. I just want to understand basic politics from you. So you, among 3 people, you have contested most number of times. How hard or difficult it is for a women politician when she is contesting? Has sort of like you have to devise a very different kind of campaign strategy or platforms when you go out campaign compared to male politician, or as a seasoned player you don't see any difference, it's same for everyone? And one more thing I would like to add to this question, which is you also come from Amravati district, which is one of the poorest parts of Maharashtra in Vidarbha. How does that sort of like shape your understanding of politics as a woman politician?
I come from a place which is called Amravati. Apparently, in Amravati, Mother Rukmini was born over here, and her birthplace is also Amravati. And the first woman president is also from Amravati. So women as politicians is, yes, Pratibha Taiji. And women and politicians is not a different entity. She is a human being. She's a person, and she's a politician, and she has to be powerful, and she has to be dominating, and she should know what is right for her. Right? Vendraji, I think she is liking what I'm saying. Yes, what is right for her is the best thing to do anywhere in any field. If you talk about overall world scenario, you don't see many women around, though we do talk about women coming up in a big way, and women politicians, women should come in politics, and reservations for women, and reservations at local self-government. But what I feel is, if the woman wants to come in and wants to have a career in politics, or something like what Sunita Madam and what Vendra Ma'am has been doing all their life, they just have to be a daredevil. Differentiating yourself, or there are no different designs as such for women campaigning, because this is my 4th election. I had lost my election once. So my first elections I had lost. And you know why I lost? Because I was contesting from where I was born. I was not contesting in my Sasural. I was contesting in my Mecca. So people said, what are the difficulties that women face? So this is one of the difficulty कि महिला है यहाँ पे contest कर रही है तो इसने इसके पति को छोड़ दिया है क्या? ये होता है. यहाँ कैसे? मैंने these are the gender-based questions which are asked, and I think महिलाओं से बहुत ज़्यादा अपेक्षा रहती है लोगों की. Or it is very easy to, they're soft targets. It's very easy to torture their image. It's very easy to lose talk about them. And people have tried that. I think all of us, all women go through that. During my first election, 2004, people said कि इसने इसके पति को छोड़ दिया है क्या? 2009 election, which I won, I had lost with 3,000 votes, and then I won with 30,000 votes, which I won. People drew my picture with XYZ, somebody else's picture. They threw pictures all around, drawing all around my constituency, thinking that they will demotivate me and thinking that they will do my character assassination. In my 3rd election, that is 2014, they had managed to break my family, and they had managed to, my little sister contested against me, saying that she's very dominating and I also have the right. So this is what people do. And in my 4th election, that was in 2019, they had a caste fight. They said, ye samaj ki hai, ye samaj ko hame jita ke dena hai. So when it comes to election, people get down. And when it comes to politics and when it comes to women, it is very easy for the society at large to talk XYZ and to see that they touch the woman's character and her image. But I feel if you are strong and if you have your aims straight and you know how to work, I keep telling everybody, face your back towards the world and the world is at your back. I think that is the right way to go forward for every woman who wants to join.
Thank you, Yashomati ji. I think you brought a very important point, which I keep mentioning to many of my friends, which is a woman politician is no different. She has to act and play the games of politics as anyone else would do. Because there is so much sort of like normative assumptions about how a women politician should do or what kind of good things she can do basically takes away the agency from women. Like they can be as, and apologies I'm saying this, they can be as dominating, as cunning, as corrupt as male politicians are. And which is basically normalizing how any politician
and much more disciplined than what men's are. I will put it that way.
Perhaps. Brinda ji, let me ask you this. You have seen politics much more than anyone on the panel or whoever might be listening to this conversation. Let me ask you, over these 30 to 40 years, what positive things you have seen about women politics and what things you think have worsened for women politicians in last 30 to 40 years?
I think the self-mobilization of women in movements, raising women's issues. I mean, I'm talking about the tremendous work done by women's organizations and women's groups who are outside the, specifically when you talk about political parties, they may be outside that definition, but they have nonetheless done a great political service by bringing up women's issues through agitations, through movements, through mobilizations, through organizations, in such a way that you cannot now talk about politics without at least having some understanding, good or bad, we may agree or disagree with it, but you cannot ignore women in politics. And I think, and you cannot ignore women's issues. And you have to answer women's issues. And you are made accountable for many of your sexist comments. You are accountable. So I think this role that women in India have played has really given a very big boost to women who are in party politics. And I think we should all be grateful to all those countless women who every day are fighting, mobilizing, organizing, and raising women's issues. The second aspect, I think, which is extremely positive, and I think India has been able to give this example to the world, and that is the role of women in local body politics as representatives in panchayats, in zilla parishads, in municipal corporations, and so on. And I think the importance of having a critical mass of women in these bodies over the last so many years, when the first reservation was made, I remember the huge struggle that we had to actually get it done. And then it came up to the situation where we now have 50% reservation for women. Now that's the first in the world. And when women talk about proxy politics, etc., men talk about proxy politics or analysts talk about proxy politics, they don't see the huge difference which it has made on the ground level of having women coming out. Yes, there may be some women whose husbands, are the panchpatis or whatever it is they want to be called. लेकिन ये बहुत एक बड़ी बात है जो पिछले दशकों में हम लोगों ने देखा. और एक और बात इसमें मैं कहना चाहूंगी, when you talk about the negative aspect, yes, there has been a lot of, today in India, what we are seeing is actually a backlash. Because what we are seeing is retrograde ideas, what Yashomati ji has said. It's absolutely true. Now, today in 2020, why should women have to face that sort of thing still? Because there is a backlash of women breaking barriers, social barriers, cultural barriers, so-called traditional barriers. We are breaking them. And where so-called social sanction is there, that's fine. But if I want to marry out of my caste, if I want to marry out of my religious, whatever it may be, my religious belief or non-belief, or any other cultural construct which is there in the name of tradition, the backlash is something so ferocious that there is this conflict today. And I believe women in politics have such an important role. We do have differences, we have ideological differences, but there have to be a certain level of understanding between women across parties to fight for certain issues. And in my own experience in Parliament, we had a platform in which we had an informal platform where we could reach out to women in other political parties, and we worked so well together and we got so many things done. But I'm not sure whether the atmosphere today, as you say, there's always been polarization, but today the polarization is such that vulnerable voices do tend to get left out. So these are challenges. So there's both positive and there's negative. But being in left politics, I give equal importance to mass mobilizations and people's mobilizations to set agendas in Parliament.
Thank you, Brindaji. As you sort of mentioned that there was a time when women politicians across party line used to talk and push women issues in the parliament. I remember, and that picture is still in my mind. I think you, Sushma ji, Renuka Chaudhary, everyone sort of like holding hands, and basically, I think there was a debate on a reservation,
women's reservation
bill, and I remember that picture still. So let me sort of like ask you, and then I'll go to other people. and there is, as you said, there is a lot of pushback coming. One pushback is coming from the political side. I'm not saying male politicians are doing, but there are policies which are coming up or has been at least tried either through the courts or through a public policy, which is going to hurt women politics at panchayat level. So, for example, I read today in the newspaper, UP government is mulling on the idea of minimum education. There was a policy in Haryana where you should have only 2 children, 2-child norm to be able to contest in politics. Then at some point in some state, there was a law that there has to be a toilet or a latrine in your house to be eligible to contest. Now, when these, and I think all of these, many of these are like exclusively going to push eligible women candidates out of politics. As we know, women's education level is lower than men. Mostly women are sort of like questioned on the question of childbirth. So how do you think, can you sort of like build cross-party alliance of women politicians and people's mobilization to push on some of these agendas?
Well, it depends really on the women themselves, because you have to be very bold to come out against a position which your party has taken. And it's difficult to do that. I mean, to be practical about it. If a political party is running government and has taken a position in which you want to bring such a draconian bill, which is going to punish women for something which is not really their fault. Because on the one hand, we all know that there are still certain decisions, culturally speaking, that women are not in a position to take, particularly the issue of children and giving birth to children. There are certain communities and cultures in which, this is considered absolutely essential. And there's also a political aggression today to have more and more children for this or that reason. So, but what does a woman do in a party? See, in India, I tell you, we can't expect women also to be super women and to do things which our political system does not allow.
No.
Now, we are in party politics. We are in a party-based system. You are in a system where you have to vote according to what your party has decided. So that is the practicality of it. But yes, I do strongly believe, and from my own experience, I can tell you that within parties, women within parties have also to be as active and as aggressive about issues that they are committed to be able to shape the party policy on A, B, and C. And we have had so many examples where political parties do change their position if there is a strong pushback within the party itself. So when we talk about politics, don't just look at parliament and what women parliamentarians can do. They can do some things, but let's not put too much of a burden on that. It's not fair on women in parliament. But what I do believe is that within parties, we can, within our own forums, we can. And I don't think we're doing it enough. That's my problem today, that on the one hand, we have we have more women in public life. We have 14% women in parliament today. We have 50% women in panchayats today. But within parties also, the need for women's voices to push for policies which they are committed to, that unless it all comes together, na Rahul, इतने आसान नहीं है कि हम कहें कि आपने ये वोट क्यों दिया. How can I tell Sunita ji? She may not want to. I know in Rajya Sabha that day, there were women who were sitting with me by my side who said, I wish I could have voted with you, but I can't because my party's position is something else. I'm not going to name names, but on March the 10th in the Rajya Sabha, in 2010, I know women who were good friends of mine who really wanted to vote, but they couldn't. तो मैं कहती हूँ महिलाओं के ऊपर इतना जोर मत देना कि भाई तुम्हें क्यों नहीं वोट दिया. They can't do it, but they can do it within their parties for sure. And at least in Parliament, we can decide on issues which we should raise and fight for and support each other. Definitely support each other in Parliament. If somebody is making a sexist comment, for God's sake, don't look and see, is she a BJP? Is she a this party? Is she a communist? Is she this? No. If somebody is making a sexist comment of any type, stand up and be heard. That also is a pushback from women. That sort of thing we can do and we should do.
So, thank you. Yashomati ji, let me ask you a question since you are Women and Child Development Minister. And I won't call this as a sexist, but it amuses me and it should amuse everyone that for Women Child Ministry, it is always going to be a woman. For Minority Affairs Minister, it is always going to be a Muslim or a Christian. For Social Justice Ministry, it is always going to be a Dalit. Right? So, in some ways, we sort of like stereotype which person should become minister of which department. Is there any sort of like conversation among different groups or that what if you are making me a minister, why are you only giving me Women and Child Ministry? Why not some other ministry? Is only a women can sort of like lead Women and Child Ministry and Dalit can lead a Social Justice Ministry? Ma'am, आप unmute हैं.
Mute hai, unmute kare.
Okay. I don't think it is anything like this. Yes, generally, on an average, if you see what you were saying, that does come into being. But as far as Maharashtra is concerned, and as far as I am concerned, see, I've become the minister for the first time, and I chose Women and Child. My leadership had asked me, tell me what is your interest. So I said, I want to work with Women and Child, right? So, and my predecessor, my earlier colleagues who were ministers some 5 years back. So there was a man who was the minister of Women and Child. Before that also, there was a man who was a minister of Women and Child. It's not like that. Like today in my, we have a coalition government, and yes, minority is being given to a Muslim person, but the Social Justice Ministry has gone to somebody who's an OBC. So it depends on what situation is there and how we go about it and what best can come out in the ministry. And I think there shouldn't be any tag on whether you are a woman or whether you are a minority or whether you are a scheduled caste. I don't think we should have these kind of tags and then go along. Yes, in the long run, things have been, for the political adjustments, they have been like this. And I think all of you all would also agree that it has been only for political adjustment. Fine, if there have been people who have been wanting to take Mahila and Kalyan and something else, there have been men also who have handled my ministry, my Women and Child Ministry. But for me, it was a choice. I was given a choice.
Good.
No, like I wasn't only saying about negative stereotyping, but even if I look at the positive aspect, as Brindaji also was mentioning, it is assumed that only a woman would understand the problems of a woman. Only a scheduled caste would understand the problems of scheduled caste and make policies for them. So, as a Minister of Women and Child, can you sort of like elaborate what kind of different things you would do? मतलब अगर मान लीजिए आपकी मंत्रालय को कोई पुरुष संभाल रहा होता, तो क्या वो कुछ मतलब ऐसी चीजें करता जो नहीं करनी चाहिए थी, या आपसे मतलब मैं ये नहीं समझ पाता हूँ कि ये मंत्रालय किसी को ही क्यों दिए जाते हैं?
नहीं, ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है, लेकिन मुझे ऐसे नहीं लगता है कि वुमेन एंड चाइल्ड मिनिस्टर महाराष्ट्र की बात करें तो आदमियों ने भी संभाला है. who have taken care of the department and have taken care of the department very well, right? But if there was an option and if I opted for it, then that was a different thing. But yes, maybe at times people do tend to think that If she's a woman, maybe she'll understand things. But and if she's a scheduled caste, maybe he understands the problems better. And maybe at times that when I think what would happen, how would it be handled a situation where it is difficult for a man to imagine what the woman is going through. So maybe at times.
ठीक है, ठीक है। सुनीता जी, मैं आपसे एक चीज पूछना चाहता हूँ कि and I've read this somewhere and correct me if I'm wrong on this. You said कि खाप पंचायत में ढेर सारी problems हो सकती है, वो कुछ गलत चीजें भी करते होंगे, but we should use institutions like खाप पंचायत because they can also help in or aid in social welfare. Like आपका मानना ये है कि they can sort of like जैसे एक scheme है बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ. If you take खाप पंचायत on this question along with them, maybe they can add. But when I think hard about this question, there is a sort of like problem. If खाप panchayats have a very, very regressive view about what is the role of women in the society, उन्हें कैसे कपड़े पहनने चाहिए, उन्हें मोबाइल पे बात करनी चाहिए या नहीं चाहिए, तो वो ऐसी चीजों में क्यों मदद करेंगे जो कि women empowerment ले जाएगी और महिलाएं फिर उनकी पोजीशन को क्वेश्चन करेंगी?
राहुल जी, एक्चुअली देयर इज अ मिथ, ये खाप पंचायत के लिए बहुत एक मिसकंसेप्शन है और मैंने बहुत नजदीक से जो है वो खाप पंचायत को देखा है। लाइक मैं अगर आपको बताऊं कि 3-4 साल पहले एक बहुत बड़ी खाप पंचायत है हमारे यहाँ सोनीपत डिस्ट्रिक्ट में, जिसमें वो कोशिश करते हैं सभी जो भी जितनी भी कम्युनिटीज, जितनी भी कास्ट हैं, उन सबको इंक्लूड करके वो खाप पंचायत बनाई जाती है। तो यू सी कि उस समय में मुझे याद है कि उन लोगों ने डिफरेंट पार्टीज के जो सीनियर लीडर्स हैं उन सबको उन्होंने इनवाइट किया उस प्रोग्राम में। एट दैट टाइम इट वाज दीपेंद्र हुड्डा, ही वाज अ मेंबर पार्लियामेंट फ्रॉम रोहतक लोकसभा, and simultaneously they called upon Mr. Chaudhary Virender Singh. At that time he was a member parliament Rajya Sabha BJP, and Dushyant Chautala, वो मेंबर पार्लियामेंट थे हिसार से INLD पार्टी से। और आप ये देखिए कि इन तीन जो डिफरेंट पार्टीज के जो लीडर्स हैं, इनके साथ साथ उन्होंने मुझे इनवाइट किया और जिस तरह से उन्होंने उन सबको ऑनर किया पगड़ी पहनाकर, मुझे भी उन्होंने उसी तरह से ये पगड़ी पहनाकर ऑनर किया। तो ये एक I mean, जब आप बिल्कुल बहुत नजदीक से आप देखते हो, एंड इन द सेम वे आई वुड लाइक टू से कि एक जींद डिस्ट्रिक्ट में एक खेड़ा खाप है, वहां पर फर्स्ट टाइम आप ये देखिए कि दे डिसाइडेड कि वो अभी सरनेम यूज नहीं करेंगे। मुझे नहीं लगता कि अभी तक किसी ने भी जो कास्ट डिस्क्रिमिनेशन है उसको जो है खत्म करने के लिए किसी ने कुछ इस तरह से सोचा हो कि क्या स्टेप्स हम ले सकते हैं कि जो कास्ट सिस्टम जो है वो खत्म हो। उस खेड़ा खाप ने, जिसमें 24 विलेजेस हैं, फर्स्ट टाइम ये डिसाइड किया कि हम सब जो है ये डिसाइड करते हैं कि हम लोग अपना सरनेम पीछे यूज नहीं करेंगे, क्योंकि as soon as you just apply your surname, immediately you come to know from which community or which caste you are. तो वो ऐसी चीजें जो अभी तक मुझे नहीं लगता कि पूरे इंडिया में ही शायद नहीं किसी के दिमाग में ये बात आई हो कि हम इस तरह से जो है एक हमारी एक कोशिश, छोटी सी एक जो है कोशिश हो सकती है कास्ट सिस्टम को खत्म करने की। तो ये एक थोड़ा मिसकंसेप्शन है। अगर आप बिल्कुल नजदीकी से बारीकी से जाएं तो एक्चुअली जो केसेस कुछ आए थे उसमें उसको बहुत अगर माइन्यूटली अगर उसको देखें राहुल जी, तो क्या था कि उसमें एक ही गांव में रहते हुए एक ही सरनेम से कुछ बच्चे जो हैं उन्होंने जब मैरिज जो है वो की या कि वो चले गए, जैसे भाग गए कहते हैं कि तो वो थोड़ा सा एक रिसेंटमेंट जो है, क्योंकि ऐसा अगर आप ये देखें कि अगर आप भी वर्मा है मैं भी वर्मा हूँ तो ऐसा हम लोग बहन भाई हुए हैं। और ऐसे अगर आप अगर ऐसे उसमें अगर आप मैरिज के लिए जो है वो करते हैं तो उसमें फिर एकदम से सबका बहुत ज्यादा जो है वो नाराज हो जाना लाजमी है। तो मुझे लगता है कि कुछ केसेस ऐसे हुए और उसकी वजह से इसका जो है इसको मिसकंसेप्चुलाइज किया गया कि खाप पंचायत जो है वो इस तरह से आपको जो है डिक्टेट करती हैं या कि वो जबकि ऐसा कुछ नहीं है एज फार एज मतलब आई एम कंसर्न, मैंने जितना बारीकी से
जी ठीक है। मैं एक्चुअली अब साथ में ऑडियंस के क्वेश्चन भी आप लोगों से पूछता रहूंगा। वृंदा जी, मैं आपसे ये जानना चाहता हूँ कि ये कोविड पैंडेमिक चल रहा है और बीच में कई लोगों ने एटलीस्ट ट्विटर पे ये काफी डिबेट रही और कुछ लोगों ने ओपेक्स पे लिखे कि जहां जहां पे विमेन पॉलिटिशियंस हैं दे आर हैंडलिंग कोविड सिचुएशन बेटर, be it New Zealand or they were talking about some Scandinavian country, and especially in Shuru mein there was a discussion about Kerala model and the health minister Shailja ji. Do you think women politicians can do better in such times, or what kind of innate abilities they have that they can deal crisis or disaster situations better than men politicians? Or this is not a question at all?
देखिए, मैं तो नहीं समझती हूँ कि biology is the main factor to decide politics. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that at all. And I think it is ideology in one's commitment and one's capacity. And certainly women politicians who are leading these countries and the way that they have dealt with the pandemic actually shows that those systems and those countries who don't recognize women's qualities are doing a disservice to their own country. It's the opposite which is true, that if women are given the opportunity, they can do as well, if not better, than any other politician, than a male politician. I think this is what it proves. It's not as though there's some special quality which is a female biological quality which makes a woman do better. I think a woman and a man, if they are judged equally, they are not in this country, unfortunately, and women are deprived of that opportunity. But I'm sure they can do as well, and these women have proved it. But I would, if you don't mind, Rahul, like to just a quick response to Sunita ji's comments on the Khap Panchayats, because, you know, for the last 30 years or 35 years, I have been deeply involved in the struggle against the decisions of many Khap Panchayats, which have played a very negative role in the struggles in which we have been involved. And one of them is own choice marriage. So when we talk about own choice, of course, I can understand the same Gotra issue which Sunita ji has raised. And certainly that does lead to a lot of, you know, feeling among people. It is not there in the Indian law. It is not there in the Indian legal system. So there's a limit to how any body or any institution can respond or react to it. But I'm afraid it goes far beyond. It's not so benign. On these issues of own choice marriage, on the issues of women's role, I don't deny that there may be certain examples and areas, as Sunita ji has experienced. They have also had decisions where they say nobody will take dowry from this village. I have known of Khap Panchayats also taking such decisions. No dowry, very simple marriages. These are good things, but you don't need a Khap Panchayat to do that. You do not need an institution called the Khap Panchayat to do that. But even getting away from that, we fought in Parliament, and I hope Sunita ji will also do that, that we need a law against what is called honor killings in India, which is actually the most dishonor killings, which goes basically against intercaste marriages and goes against interreligious marriages also. Now we have different names for what interreligious marriages are called. I don't want to bring that debate into our discussion today unless you wish to, Rahul. But I believe that any institution, a Khap Panchayat or any other Panchayat in the name of any particular religion, any of these extra legal institutions which take an authority and a sanction which is not given to them by law and behave as though they are a court, and they implement that decision, and anybody who does not implement that decision is either a victim of violence or they are boycotted, a social boycott, which can also be very, very cruel. So what I would say for all of us on this panel, as members of parliament, we have to, or as people in politics, we have to be sensitive to people's ways and how do we deal with these retrograde ideas which still exist. Of course, we have to be sensitive, we have to engage, we have to discuss, we have to dialogue. If they call Sunita ji or me or Yashomati ji, we decide whether we want to go and address them. But that cannot take away from the fact that if you do go outside the legal framework, you deserve punishment. And courts in India, the Supreme Court, the Punjab and Haryana High Court, the Rajasthan High Court, they have, and Maharashtra High Court, they have given so many judgments asking for strong action against these extrajudicial bodies. So I think while I agree, you need not, come out against them if you don't wish to. But I think you have to draw the line that, okay, when you cross this border, you are out of it and you are going to be arrested and we are going to have laws against you. I think that is very much required. I'm sorry, Sunita ji, I just digressed from it. But, that's what I'm dealing with an honor killing now in Tamil Nadu, intercaste marriage. And it is the most horrendous thing. But such is the pressure that the girl herself is so victimized. The boy is dead, brutally killed by her own family. And what does a girl do if we cannot support her in every which way? She's got her whole family and the whole community is against her because they say, you married a man of a lower caste. So, we have to fight for certain things. Otherwise, after all, what is democracy? It's not just a vote in parliament, na? Or bhi to hai Janwar.
Sunita ji,
Janwar ka
let me ask you a
arth aur
question.
kuch hai.
And if you have, if you want to respond to Brindaji's comment, you're welcome to do. My question is following. You are a member of parliament and everyone sort of like assumes that there should be, not assumes, but there are a lot of people who favor women's reservation in parliament. Yesterday, I was reading an article, yesterday or day before yesterday, about this whole debate which is happening on menstrual leave for women. And that piece was written by a woman professor. और उन्होंने अपने piece में ये लिखा था कि फर्स्ट टाइम जब 1990s में लालू यादव की सरकार ने बिहार में इस तरह की एक पॉलिसी लाई थी तो काफी महिलाओं को झिझक होती थी लीव एप्लीकेशन लिखने के लिए कि व्हाई डू दे नीड दिस लीव और फिर वहां पे डिपार्टमेंट में इस तरह के कमेंट भी सुनने पड़ते थे कि लीजिए जी इनको एक और भी फेवर मिल गया। आपको क्या लगता है कि इस तरह का अगर आप विमेन रिजर्वेशन की पॉलिटिक्स में बात हो पार्लियामेंट में दिया जाए तो क्या इस तरह के कमेंट्स नहीं आएंगे कि लो जी इनके लिए एक और फेवर हो गया? तो आप कैसे एज अ पॉलिटिशियन एज अ पार्लियामेंटेरियन इस विषय के बारे में देखती हैं?
राहुल जी, पहले तो मैं वृंदा जी ने जो कहा उसमें जस्ट आई वांट टू ऐड कि वो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी हैव टू चेंज आवर माइंडसेट. It's not a honor killing, it's a horror killing. Now it is named as a horror killing. कि आप उसको पहले ही उस killing को हम honor killing बोल के उसको honor कर रहे हैं. So it's like a horror killing. Or undoubtedly there are so many cases in Haryana also because my husband is also in the police department and I have just go through so many cases. और मैं कितने cases तो ऐसे हैं कि जैसे अभी वृंदा जी ने बताया कि जो you just have shivering in your spine, आप एकदम से सिहर जाते हैं कि बिल्कुल cut into pieces और उनको इस तरह से उनको वो वहां पर ग्राउंड में डाला हुआ है और सभी आप देखकर निकल जाते हो बिल्कुल. तो इसमें लेकिन इट्स अ सोशल, यू कैन से कि सोशल इशू, और इसको तो हम सब लोग मिलकर ही, हम इसको जैसे जो एनजीओस हैं, जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, वो सब मिलकर ही हम इसको सॉर्ट आउट कर सकते हैं। और कोई भी खाप पंचायत को कहीं भी किसी तरह की कोई एक ऐसा शील्ड नहीं मिलता है कि अगर एक वो खाप बनी है तो वो इस तरह के कोई भी डिसीजंस करने के लिए फ्री है। लॉ इज आई मीन इक्वल फॉर एवरीबॉडी। अगर कहीं पर किसी के लिए कुछ ऐसा है तो लॉ अपना उसमें उसको अपना काम करना चाहिए। दैट डिपेंड्स कि आपने उस समय में जो ऑफिसर वहां पर है, जो जो पुलिस ऑफिसर वहां पर है, वो कैसे एक्ट करते हैं। समटाइम्स कि वो खुद भी ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग कि वो कास्ट में इतना ज्यादा उलझ जाते हैं कि इवन दे डू द फेवर, वो भी उनको उनको फेवर करते हैं इंस्टेड ऑफ उनको एक्शन लेने के की जगह पर उनको फेवर करते हैं। तो मुझे लगता है कि आई मीन बाय एंड लार्ज अभी उतना ज्यादा इशू जो है नहीं है, जितना हम बहुत ये से डिकेड अगो, जितना हम 10 साल 15 साल पहले सुनते थे, अभी कंपैरेटिवली काफी हरियाणा में तो एटलीस्ट मैं यही कहूंगी। और कुछ तो ये जो 50% जो अभी वृंदा जी ने भी बताया कि इन रियल मीन्स जो पंचायत हैं, जो ब्लॉक समिति चेयरमैन है और जो जिला परिषद है, इन सब में इतनी ज्यादा पार्टिसिपेशन जो है वो मोमेंट की हो गई है, उसकी वजह से भी बहुत ज्यादा इस चीज का मैं कहूंगी कि इम्पैक्ट है। और जो विलेज बैकग्राउंड में तो मैं आपको बताती हूँ ऑनेस्टली कि काफी टाइम से जो सरपंचेस बनते आ रहे थे, और जैसे ही हमारी गवर्नमेंट ने एक वो पर्टिकुलरली एजुकेशनल क्वालिफिकेशन का उन्होंने सेट कर दिया कि इतना आपका जो मिनिमम क्वालिफिकेशन होना चाहिए, तो बहुत से ऐसे हैं कि उनको अपनी वाइफ्स को या कि अपनी बेटी को या कि अपनी किसी ना किसी जो जो फीमेल जो उनके फैमिली में है, उनको उनको जो है इलेक्शन में कंटेस्ट करवाना पड़ा। और क्या है कि स्टार्टिंग में एवरीबॉडी जस्ट हैव सम हेजिटेशन, थोड़ा लगता है, लेकिन स्लो एंड स्टडी वो जो है उनसे बहुत अच्छा करने लगी है, उनसे पार्टिसिपेट एक्टिवली उसके अंदर बहुत एक्टिवली उसमें पार्टिसिपेट कर रही है। और मुझे याद है कि एक बार सुषमा जी ने बताया था कि किस तरह से विदिशा में जो है वहां पर उन्होंने ये कहा कि सभी जितनी भी जो यहाँ पर जो महिला रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स है, उन सबकी में एक मीटिंग उन्होंने कॉल की और सबको इनवाइट किया। एंड आफ्टर सम टाइम उन्होंने देखा कि सब वहां पर जेंट्स हैं, सब वहां पर मेल ही मेल है, कोई 2-4 इक्का दुक्का लेडीज को छोड़ के। देन शी सेड कि भाई मैंने तो महिला तो प्रतिनिधि के सब उनके जो है वो सब पति हैं। तो उन्होंने कहा कि जब तक सभी महिलाएं नहीं आएंगी जो कि एक्टिवली इसमें जो है जो रिप्रेजेंट कर रही है, जो इलेक्टेड है, कहते हैं कि मैं मीटिंग जो है वो लेने वाली नहीं हूँ। तो कहते हैं कि उसके बाद थोड़ी देर के बाद सभी महिलाएं वो आई जो इलेक्टेड थी, और तब उसके बाद उन्होंने मीटिंग ली। तो डेफिनेटली ये इसमें बहुत बड़ा रोल है कि हम लोग जो अभी राइट नाउ वी आर होल्डिंग सम पोजीशन, वी आर होल्डिंग सम स्टेटस, तो बहुत बड़ी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी हम लोगों के ऊपर भी है कि हम लोग किस तरह से जो हमारी महिला जो हमारी दूसरी जो चाहे वो सरपंचेस हैं, कैसे उनको किस तरह से हम सपोर्ट करते हैं और अपने साथ लेकर उनको चलते हैं। क्योंकि आप ये देखिए कि इवन जब भी आप फील्ड में काम करते हैं तो वहां पर भी जो जो जेंट्स है, अगर उनकी वाइफ जो है वो सरपंच है या कुछ ऐसे रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं, तो दे फील कंफर्टेबल कि हाँ मैडम है तो आप मैडम के साथ चली रहेंगी, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। अगर मेरी जगह पे कोई जेंट्स अगर सपोज वहां पर एमपी होता, तो उनको उनके साथ अपनी बीवी को, अपनी बेटी को, अपनी सिस्टर को भेजने में शायद हो सकता है कुछ अनकंफर्टेबल वो महसूस करते हैं, लेकिन उनको लगता है कि भी हाँ ये है तो ठीक है, आप जाइए इनके साथ, जहाँ भी जो भी प्रोग्राम है तो आप जाइए। तो मुझे ये लगता है कि अभी बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत है इस चीज की। एंड बाय द ग्रेस ऑफ गॉड 14% हम लोगों का जो है परसेंटेज जिस तरह से स्लो एंड स्टडी बढ़ रहा है, तो और भी ज्यादा ये अच्छा होता है। और एक बात मैं कहना चाहूंगी कि अभी रिसेंटली आप लोगों ने देखा होगा कि रमा जी जो हमारी है, वो जो है वो चेयर कर रही थी लोकसभा में, और एट दैट टाइम एक हमारे मेंबर पार्लियामेंट ने किस तरह से उनको कमेंट किया, और जितनी भी वहां पर मेंबर पार्लियामेंट चाहे किसी भी क्रॉस द पार्टी लाइन, सब के सब एकदम से उठ खड़ी हुई और उन्होंने कहा कि ये बिल्कुल टॉलरेट नहीं होगा। और आप देखिए इमीडिएट उनको जो है अपोलोजाइज करना पड़ा वहां पर, और बड़ा इशू रहा वो। और सभी इवन जेंट्स जो है वो भी सबके सब आए कि इस तरह से जो है ये इस तरह के कमेंट्स जो है वो टॉलरेट नहीं होंगे, बर्दाश्त नहीं होंगे। गॉन आर द डेज। अब जो है ऐसा नहीं है कि पहले मुझे लगता है कि शायद हो सकता है, हालांकि वृंदा जी तो बहुत बोल्ड है, लेकिन फिर भी जो पहले जो हमारी महिला पॉलिटिशियंस थी उनको काफी कुछ सहन करना पड़ा होगा, लेकिन अब मुझे लगता है कि सब के सब जो है वो एकदम से खड़े हो जाते हैं कि आप बर्दाश्त नहीं होगा। तो और जो आपका सेकंड क्वेश्चन था, एक बार आप प्लीज रिपीट करें, ये हॉरर किलिंग में मैं वो दूसरे वाला क्वेश्चन जो है मेरे आपका माइंड हो गया।
कोई नहीं, विल कम बैक टू यू। यशोमती जी, मैं एक आपसे सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ, मतलब किसी और ने चैट बॉक्स में पूछा है कि आपने शायद अभी थोड़ी देर पहले बातचीत में कहा था कि women politicians are more disciplined, तो थोड़ा उसके बारे में कुछ कहें। और दूसरा मैं इस सवाल पे एक चीज जो जोड़ना चाहता हूँ कि मतलब जैसे आपने अभी बताया कि कैसे वोटर्स अलग अलग परसेप्शन रखते हैं कि आप मायके से चुनाव लड़ रहे हो या ससुराल से चुनाव लड़ रहे हो। क्या वोटर्स महिला पॉलिटिशियन से कुछ पॉजिटिव परसेप्शंस भी रखते हैं? क्योंकि काफी रिसर्च इस तरह का, हो सकता है ये एक पॉजिटिव बायस हो, पर काफी रिसर्चर्स ये कहते हैं कि जब महिला पॉलिटिशियन जीतती है तो वो अलग पब्लिक गुड्स प्रोवाइड करती है, उसका ध्यान रोड्स पे होता है, पानी पे होता है, ऐसी चीजों पे होता है। तो क्या कुछ मतलब सिर्फ स्टीरियोटाइप ही करते हैं वोटर्स, या कुछ पॉजिटिव चीजें भी वो रखते हैं महिला पॉलिटिशियंस से? मैम आप अनम्यूट है। जी।
Every time you remind me that I'm on mute. Anyway, मैंने भी क्वेश्चंस पढ़े और देखो, महिला रिप्रेजेंटेटिव और पुरुष रिप्रेजेंटेटिव में कोई डिफरेंस नहीं होता है। मैं एक एग्जांपल दूंगी। आई हैड व्हेन आई फर्स्ट बिकेम एन एमएलए, a few of my male counterparts came up and said कि इस तरीके से बात नहीं करना चाहिए, you are a woman. Okay, I was like, what? I said, I'm a representative. Okay, I'm a woman, fine, but I am a representative and you are also a representative. Here, a man, being a man or being a woman hardly matters. But as far as the voters are concerned, voters do have a motherly feeling for you. I have experienced this. They do expect a lot because they feel more responsibility is being imparted to them in different ways, maybe in the way of picking up phone calls, or maybe talking to them, or maybe the kind of applications that they give, and taking care of those applications. I think a woman has right from her birth, she's been, especially in our country, she's been brought up in a way that you have to be responsible and you have to be. So, the voters also have that kind of angle, which does tend to tilt towards the side that women are more responsible. And you see where the women are heading the nations, and you see how they have managed. Even in this pandemic, there are states, there are nations where much faster comparatively than what men are doing, and that has been appreciated all around the world. But work as such is the same for everybody, and work as such does not differentiate between you being a woman representative and you being a man representative. Work is work, and work has to be done, and what has to be done has to be done. It's that way. I don't think that should make a difference otherwise.
Okay. Brinda ji, let me ask you something, which is, you said it's not just a biological question, and I completely agree with you, because I too believe that, and it's more of an ideological question. Somehow, what happens in a debate where you have like the question is of women politician and women governance, everything is reduced to what are they doing for women, and how can sort of like what can happen to women, as if like women politicians don't have concerns about institutions, don't have concerns about inequality, don't have questions about concerns about inequality. And I want your perspective on this. do you, like, in what ways can, if we want society to break some sort of like stereotypes, how can we break stereotypes of these panel discussion, which basically restrict the women question to women and don't talk about anything else? For example, if there is ethnic conflict happening in the society, there is ideological polarization is happening in the society, what are women politicians doing about that, and how can they engage with them?
But women don't accept these restrictions, na? ये तो आपके पैनल के एंकर्स के दिमाग में हो सकती है, लेकिन महिलाओं के दिमाग में नहीं हो। हमारे लिए कोई ऐसे कोई सीमा नहीं है। और ये भी एक बहुत स्टीरियोटिपिकल है कि अभी भी दुनिया उसी तरह जो है सोचती है। अरे जो लोग इस तरह के करने की प्रयास कर रहे हैं औरतें, तो उनको सही जवाब भी दे रहे हैं ना, चाहे पंचायत में हो, चाहे विधानसभा में हो, चाहे पार्लियामेंट में हो, और चाहे सड़क पर हो। But the point that I want to say is there are stereotypes. And what I'm really concerned about are ideologies which promote those stereotypes. Ideologies which say a working woman is not doing justice to her family. A working woman is not Bharatiya, because at the end of the day, the role of a woman is as a mother at home. Or a woman is a good mother, a good wife, or a good sister, good daughter, but her identity is a woman with her own needs, her own desires. Who wants to be a Devi, I tell you? कौन इस दुनिया में भूखे मर रहे और कहेंगे कि भाई तुम तो हमारे देवी? We don't need that. And women are breaking that. So ideologies which want to push women back. Of course, the language used is much more sophisticated today. So, of being homemakers, of being so responsible, of being the strategists to manage the household budget, all kinds of new frameworks. This whole issue of flexi work. After all, what is flexi work? You are saying your main work is going to be at home, looking after all the domestic chores. And since your family can't make do with one income, you do the flexi work at home. Anyway, I'm not going into that argument about working women per se, about labor laws per se. But what I am saying is that women are breaking these barriers. But those who want to push us back into those pinjras, मतलब उसके खिलाफ कैसे एक होकर हम लड़ सकते हैं? That is the point. मतलब on the one hand you have the market and market economies, जो औरत है वो एक sex object है और तो कुछ है नहीं, and therefore you have a whole glorification of the so-called modern woman. I mean, if you're wearing clothes which suit that market requirement, then you're modern. So on the one hand, you have that kind of crazy consumer thing, which, is making women into a commodity. It's not today, it's been going on, but it's getting more and more pronounced, and it's having a bigger and bigger social impact. And on the other hand, you have this. And that's also very prevailing dominant ideology. So where does an independent woman find herself today? She does have to still fight. I mean, Kangxi, I'm sure she's had a big struggle to set up this Netsi Foundation. And I'm so many of the young women who are part of it. In each and every woman's life, there is a struggle because we are in a patriarchal society. लेकिन जब ideology भी एक मतलब इतनी dominant हो जाती है और हर टीवी सीरियल भी हे बेचारी औरत, जब तक हम रोएंगे नहीं तब तक जो है मैं अपनी औरत पना कैसे दिखाऊं, all that sort of stuff, it's, I don't know, I feel, sometimes I feel frustrated because although women are breaking so many barriers, there are so many new barriers which are being put up. That's also an issue, na?
No.
That's why I
completely-
said ideology. इसलिए मैंने ideology की बात की.
नहीं, I completely agree with you on that. Let
मैं
me ask
सिर्फ
the last-
political, हाँ, मैं political idea, even cultural constructs,
जी,
ना, मैं सिर्फ
जी।
एक पार्टी की ये मैं एक और संपूर्ण रूप में मैं वो मुद्दा को
जी।
रख रही हूँ.
जी. मैं आप तीनों से एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा हूँ and then I'll ask Kanshi to take over. And it's not a sort of question, but I saw on the chat box काफी लोग ये पूछ रहे हैं कि वो पॉलिटिक्स में एंटर करना चाहते हैं. तो आप तीनों बहुत ही अलग अलग ट्रेजेक्टरी से आते हैं. सुनीता जी ब्यूरोक्रेसी से पॉलिटिक्स में आए, यशोमती जी एडवोकेट हैं और फिर पॉलिटिक्स में आए, और वृंदा जी आप एयर इंडिया में थे, वहां से एक्टिविज्म शुरू करी, फिर कलकत्ता यूनिवर्सिटी में गए. आप तीनों बहुत डिफरेंट पार्टीज को रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं. What would be your advice to young people how to like basically get involved in politics? And let me sort of add one point of research because I am a boring researcher. ऐसा new emerging research जो suggest करता है कि one of the reasons why women are less active or get less represented in politics, उसका origin actually college है. क्योंकि college मतलब it's of course the patriarchal system, but patriarchal system is sort of almost everywhere. But there are countries where more women get represented in parliament and in their legislative assemblies. And the reason is that younger women are active in college politics. So just to sort of like lay that out, and I want short, brief sort of like advice from all three of you. Anyone can start, and then Kanshi take over, please.
Anyone can go.
सुनीता जी आप ही शुरू कर सकते हैं.
सुनीता जी आप स्टार्ट कर दीजिए. Yes.
राहुल एक्चुअली क्या है कि सबसे पहले सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट जो है, इन केस इफ यू जस्ट वांट टू ज्वाइन द पॉलिटिक्स, फीमेल इन पर्टिकुलर, तो अदरवाइज तो देखिए कि ये जो है कोई भी चाहे क्यों ना है, वो मेल है या फीमेल है, आपका पॉलिटिक्स को ज्वाइन करने का पर्पस क्या है. रादर आप कुछ भी करते हैं, आप एक एनजीओ खोल रहे हैं, आप इवन ब्यूरोक्रेसी में हैं, तो उसके पीछे आपका मोटिव क्या है, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. समटाइम्स यू नो ब्यूरोक्रेसी में भी, अभी मैं आपको एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल बताती हूँ कि इसमें नागपुर में NADT है हमारा, नेशनल एकेडमी फॉर डायरेक्ट टैक्सेस करके. तो वहां पर हमारा एक इन बिटवीन जो एक कोर्स जो होता है, वहां पर वो करने के लिए हम ट्रेनिंग सेशन जो है वो हम गए. मिड में जो ट्रेनिंग होता है, तो जो यंगस्टर्स जो थे वहां पर आए हुए थे, जो यंग बैच था, तो उनसे जब चॉइस पूछा कि आपकी क्या चॉइस है पोस्टिंग के लिए, तो सो मेनी दे जस्ट यू नो चूजन के भाई हम मुंबई पोस्टिंग चाह रहे हैं. एंड इन द इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट मुंबई इज अ वेरी ल्यूक्रेटिव, you can say कि पोस्टिंग के वहां पोस्टिंग चाह रहे हैं, मींस आपका बैक ऑफ द माइंड इज दैट कि आप वहां पर चाहते हैं कि खूब जाकर आप वहां पर अच्छे से पैसा कमाएं. और इट वाज सो सरप्राइजिंग जब मैंने उनसे पूछा, मैंने कहा कि आप सबके सब इतना ज्यादा, कहते नहीं मैम वहां काम सीखने को अच्छा मिलेगा, काम सीखने को अच्छा मिलेगा. तो आप चाहे ब्यूरोक्रेसी में हैं, चाहे आप पॉलिटिक्स में हैं, चाहे आप मेल हैं, चाहे आप फीमेल हैं, आपका मोटिव क्या है पॉलिटिक्स में आने का, सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज तो ये. और उसमें भी अगर और दूसरी बात जैसा कि कह रहे हैं कि अगर कोई यंग जो है फीमेल अगर वो पॉलिटिक्स में आना चाहते हैं, तो उसके लिए सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट ये है कि वो बहुत कॉन्फिडेंट हो अंदर से, और उसके कुछ प्रिंसिपल्स कुछ होने चाहिए कि मेरे कुछ प्रिंसिपल्स हैं, बियॉन्ड दिस प्रिंसिपल्स आई वॉन्ट गो, कि मुझे यहाँ तक मेरी लिमिट है, इस लिमिट के बियॉन्ड में किसी भी हालत में मैं नहीं जाऊंगी. वो अपने माइंड में वो सेट करके रखे, वो वैल्यूज, वो प्रिंसिपल्स वो सेट करके रखे. समटाइम्स यू फील लाइक कभी मुझे तो बस किसी भी तरह से MLA बनना है, MP बनना है, बाय दिस वे और दैट वे, बाय हुक और बाय क्रुक. और उसकी वजह से क्या है कि कितना ज्यादा आपने देखा होगा कि ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग कि बहुत ज्यादा फीमेल्स के लिए पॉलिटिक्स को अच्छा नहीं माना जाता. कहते कीचड़ है, गंदगी है. दैट डिपेंड्स ऑन यू, आपके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है. कि आप किस तरह से जो है उसके अंदर से उस कीचड़ में से भी आप किस तरह से कमल के फूल की तरह खिलते हैं, जो कि हमारे पार्टी का सिंबल भी है। तो आप ये देखिए कि मैं जो है खुद इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट में थी और किस तरह से हमारे ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब जो हैं वो दे कम टू नो कि भी हाँ यहाँ पर इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में जो है हमको अगर ये इस तरह से कैंडिडेट मिलता है तो बहुत अच्छा रहेगा। और मतलब आप बिलीव नहीं करोगे कि मुझे लगा कि पॉलिटिक्स तो कोई बहुत बड़ा मुश्किल काम है नहीं, इट्स लाइक अ केक वॉक। मुझे कुछ कोई बहुत ज्यादा वो करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी। लाइक जब 2014 में मेरा टिकट फाइनल हो गया था, समहाउ इधर से मेरा रजिस्ट्रेशन हाथ में आ गया और इधर से जो टिकट है वो भी चला गया। तो आई वाज ऑन द रोड, मैं बिल्कुल रोड पे आ गई और तब झटका लगा कि ये तो पॉलिटिक्स ये क्या हो गया।
So, I don't mean to interrupt you. We are definitely interested in these anecdotes, but because we are inching towards the closure, so I think you have given a great parting advice that you have to be confident from inside, and you have to have a very clear motive, very very clear why you want to join politics. So thank you for that, and I'll move on to Yashwanti ma'am for her comments on any young girl asking, and there are many of them who have also sent these questions to us in our forms, that how can I join politics, what are these entry barriers and how can we overcome them. So because you have a very different trajectory, Yashomati ma'am, you can just share your parting thoughts with us.
I agree to what Sunita ji just mentioned, and with that I would add a few more things. You need to understand what kind of politics you want to do, whether you want to go into electoral politics or whether you want to go into the other way. Like you can be into policy making, you can have a backdoor entry, you can be into Rajya Sabha and MLC, in the council, not in the legislature. You want to do politics at a local level or at a legislature level or at a national level. So there are categories of where you want to go, how you want to go, and which kind of representative you want to become, or whether you want to get into organizational politics. Like all three of us come from three different backgrounds and three different ideologies, and we are into organization. So, and with organization, if we want to get into the election politics. So this is one base which you have to be very clear of, especially for the youngsters. You have to get your ideologies very, very clear. As Bindra Madam said, that your ideology matters, and I think that is what matters, and that is where you decide that which kind of party you want to be in, and which kind of thought and how you want your nation to be. So this is one thing. If you want to go into electoral politics, I feel, and then electoral politics means at the Gram Panchayat, at the Panchayat Samiti level, or the Zilla Panchayat, or at the state level, or at the national level. So these are the categories. And when you decide that you want to get into the Zilla Panchayat, I think you have to first and foremost decide your area where you have to contest, or which area you want to contest. And as Sunita ji said, what your motive is and what your intention is also matters. But service to mankind, service to the society is one of the most important factor, and the necessity. If you are genuine at your heart and in your mind, I think, and serving the society is your aim, politics is the best place to be in. So you decide your constituency, you decide your area of work, and you start working over there. You can get into the organization where your ideology, whichever ideology you fit into, and then contest.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's a big inspiration to anybody and all watching this, because we don't see often this kind of encouragement from our textbooks. Also, we see that women politicians are missing, right? We don't see the caricature of a woman politician. Usually, politics ke naam pe ek aadmi aata hai jo safed kurta aur jacket pehna hua hota hai. I think from that point of view, thank you. Your words will be big encouragement. Moving on to Brinda ma'am. Thank you so much for the gems that you have shared on this panel today. And I will use organizer privilege to ask you one more question apart from the question of, you know, encouraging young women or telling them apart. Because all of you, all the politicians here on this panel today mentioned that caste somehow takes a, you know, bigger precedence when a voter is going to vote. How can women emerge as a voting bloc is a question that has been, I think, been around for some time, but at Netri Foundation, we are also taking up these new questions so that we can also dive into some kind of research and understand how can women, again, just putting that question out there, how can we emerge as a voting bloc? You know, if you don't care about women, you know, if you don't care about a policy that will impact me directly, I don't want to vote you despite your caste, despite your party. So that's my last and final question to you. Thank you so much.
Well, let me start with that because I think that is very critical. The issue is, what are the common issues which will unite women? Now, if you look at NTR's election in Andhra Pradesh, and if you look at the whole question of democracy and Telugu pride, so that was one issue which mobilized all women. But after that, a specific women's issue which was critical in deciding the Andhra Pradesh election was the issue of liquor. And it was the anti-liquor movement. Although, let me tell you, the success of the movement is that they threw out that government. But it didn't directly benefit women because it's not as though there were very many more women MLAs who got elected on the women's vote. So these two things don't necessarily go together. So if, and it cannot be decided mechanically, there are certain times in history where a particular issue catches the imagination of women and which is so directly related to their lives. For example, there's no doubt that the Nirbhaya case had a huge impact on the Delhi elections. And there was a huge mobilization on the issue of violence against women. So there are certain circumstances which allow that. But if one thinks in every election, you're going to be able to build a women's vote, a specific women's vote in a constituency, that is part of a general political platform in which women have established the fact that only a pro-woman party across policies can hope to get the women's vote. But we are very distant from that right now in India. Although, as I said at the beginning, we have moved forward in ensuring that political parties cannot ignore women's voices. Now we have to move further to say that unless you address those issues, you're not going to get our vote. But it's still going to take some time. But yeah, we can work towards it. But we have to include many, many other issues like unity, like against divisive forces, like constitutional values like democracy and secularism. So these are some of the issues in which women also need to build high stakes. And I join both Sunita ji and Yashomati in the qualities which are required. And I'll just briefly add just one point to all my young friends who may be watching this, that when you talk about politics, don't talk about yourself. When you talk about politics, you're talking about people and you're talking about policies. I joined politics when I was 22 years old. And at that time, it was left politics. And my family, particularly my father, was dead against it. He couldn't imagine how a daughter of his would join left politics. It was absolutely a nightmare for many members of my family. But I was inspired by a much bigger movement, the anti-war movement, the attack on Vietnam, the huge mobilization of young people for a better future, idealism, inspiration, and an ideological, I was seeking, because what did I know about ideology? So you seek it. You seek answers to questions you may have. And if your questions are related to people and people's welfare, then I'm sure all the young people, and especially young women, and we need you. And if you don't want to directly join a political party, don't, but get into women's movements. Become active where you are. and join issues that are important to women. And through that, you never know, you may find your calling in whichever political party or whichever political stream you want to join. But start. Don't wait. This is a time for you, and the time is now. And this is why we need you, and we need young voices much more in politics. And also don't define politics very narrowly. We're just, politics is about the way we live, the way we believe, and the way we fight. And all of you are doing it. You're doing it, Kangxi. You may not be in a political party, but this is a fight you're in, and that's politics too. So good for you, and more strength to you.
Thank you.
And
so
to
much.
all of you, and
Thank
to all of
I
you.
may say that,
And I was so happy to meet Sunita ji and Yashomati ji, and it's wonderful. Sunita, the woman MP from Haryana, a strong voice, and we want to hear that voice in Parliament.
Thank you,
And of
ma'am.
course,
Thank you so much. So
and
kind of you.
Yashomati, I was just enthralled by your experiences. It's just wonderful. And good for you. Good for you.
Thank you, ma'am. You've been an inspiration for all of us. We've been observing you, and we wish to walk on your path.
Well, there's still some fight left in this old woman here.
Oh, lots of it, lots of it.
Thank you so much. It's such a delightful panel. I cannot thank you all enough. But thank you, Rahul, for moderating it so well. Thank you, all the three politicians, because as Rahul set out the context very rightly, you were so diverse and you agreed on so many things. You had such vast experience. I'm sure that everybody who was a part of this conversation today must have enjoyed themselves. Thank you for leaving us with such powerful words, and a big resounding thank you to everybody who was a part here.
And especially to Rahul,
Yeah.
who gave us that space.
And I at Netri Foundation, I'm just making this personal request before we end the call that we will be in touch with you to get all the mentorship and advice that we need to take this mission forward of amplifying women in politics, in governance, in policy making, wherever and everywhere. We will claim and occupy the parliament sometime. So thank you for being with us here today.
So come
Thank
out.
you.
Thank you.
Come out with so many Netris, Netri Foundation. Come out with so many Netris.
Thank you.